Andrew Cox from the Fauves. Welcome to noise11.com.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
All right, I'm going to start off with some wise words of an ancient scribe who once said, self-promotion is difficult for us. We don't really inhabit the music industry. Our parents taught us to be friendly but not familiar. What a wise old man.
That might have been my words, or certainly crafted for a press release anyway.
Yeah. How much truth in there that, we don't really inhabit the music industry.
Yeah, I mean, there is some truth to it. I mean, certainly not these days. I mean, we did our time on a major label where we kind of had to jump through all the hoops that you're required to in those circumstances. But these days, very much on our own terms, and yeah, we are kind of a bit of an outlier. We don't tend to have that much to do with. I mean, that's the thing about the way it works these days. You don't. Well, I mean, at our level, which is such a minor level, you don't really need to engage with the music industry that much. The means for recording, are available to anyone. The means for getting the music out there. I mean, the internet's just changed everything, obviously. So, yeah, we're certainly not I don't ever feel that we've, certainly not for the last 25 years anyway, been a part of the music industry in any real sense.
So when you were signed to a major label, how many Diddy parties did you attend?
No, it was all very wholesome. The sort of functions we went to, but no, there was we weren't getting the black label invites.
It's incredible, isn't it? 36 years of the Fauves. You go back to what year was that you would officially say the band started?
1988 we started. Yeah.
88. So 36 years before that would take you back to 1952.
Yeah. When you look at it like that, it is quite incredible. Yeah. Yeah, just such a long time ago.
Here's the great line that you had. It's generally considered that bands don't reach their peak until their 13th album. So here we are. Here we are at album number 13, Tropical Strength.
Yeah, no, we are definitely. I feel yeah, we're peaking, definitely. Yeah.
It's an incredible record, though. 11 songs, 40 minutes, and all done in 1 week in Indonesia.
That's right. Yeah, and we hadn't really. I mean, we rehearsed to the point where we kind of knew how to get from the start of the song to the finish, but we hadn't really put a lot of. Yeah, it was pretty raw, and that probably kind of worked well for us, I think. And but I mean, we've always worked with limited budgets, so we've always been really good at maximizing our time in the studio. And although we can be staggeringly lazy outside of it, we got this strange work ethic once we get inside there. So yeah, we had no trouble sort of recording the whole thing in the 7 days, and we weren't really working very long hours. The Indonesians, they like to pull up stumps pretty early. We're kind of used to the old, finishing at 2 a.m. kind of thing, but it was very much office hours. So, but yeah, it just comes, I guess, from, yeah, that's one of the benefits of being so old and having recorded so many times is you just know your way around the studio, kind of know how to do it and get it done without too much fuss. So that worked really well.
1 week to record an album sounds very quick, but the last album was 5 years ago. So how long did it take to write the songs for the record?
Well, yeah, we probably wrote, we kind of were writing right across that period, I guess. We were probably looking to record around about the time that COVID hit. So that I'm sure that's a familiar tale with a lot of bands who had their plans waylaid for a couple of years. So we probably had, maybe 60-70% of the songs written before COVID, and then the others came after that. But we do write a lot of songs, and then sort of have to go through the semi-democratic process of hashing out which ones we're going to learn and proceed with. But yeah, so it wasn't sort of a confined block of time where we wrote songs. We had obviously it's things like COVID, a lot of downtime, so plenty of time to get a lot of material together.
I know when Jim Steinman wrote songs, he would start with the title and then build the song out from there. A song like Tell Someone Who Gives a Fuck. That must have started with a title and then the song expanded out.
Yeah, really, really interesting, Paul, because I didn't write that song. Phil wrote that one, but we do that a lot. I know with my songwriting, yeah, often start with the title, yeah, and the lyrics do kind of proceed from there. So, which I find is a great way to kind of, I mean, you can be thrashing around to something to write about, but a great title that sort of engages you can kind of just lead your imaginings on all sorts of paths. So it's a method certainly. I can I'm on Jim's wavelength there. It's certainly how we tend to write a lot of our songs too.
Well, it makes it a very catchy song too, because if you're starting with the memorable title, and that's not only a very catchy song. The video clip. Did you go into sort of the archives and pull out a whole lot of footage and sort of piece it together? Because it's very interesting how you've got all this archival footage of various members of the band built into a brand new song.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what we did. I mean, we've got. I sort of have just had so many old VCR tapes stashed in my cupboard for years, decades even. And I recently went through the process of digitizing them. Just got my mum and dad's old. I don't have, like most people don't have a video player anymore, but they had one. And so I digitized all these old tapes, and they're all varying quality, obviously. But and then just thought, yeah, good idea, good way of making really kind of cheap, engaging video clips. So just sorted through and a lot of that footage, and it's obviously anyone who's seen the video, it's not high fidelity quality, which is kind of the charm to it as well. But yeah, again with a band that's been going as long as we have, just so much stuff that I had completely forgotten about, and just worked really well, and bringing it all together in a video clip.
Yeah, well, Custard are sharing a similar idea in their new video, and you share management. And it's interesting that you had the double album, and now they've got the double album. You'll sit around and discuss ideas, and hey, you do the double album this time, we'll do it next time.
Yeah,
let's both do the ancient videos.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because there was no. I mean, yeah, look, we've had a lot to do with Custard over the years, playing shows and things. But no, we didn't get together and bump heads on procedures. It's just, I guess, just a similar kind of way of looking at things. And I don't know quite what their motivation for the double album was, but I know with us it was just almost just seemed like just about the most perverse thing you could do in an age of sort of shortening attention spans, was to make a double album. I know when I was first getting into music, and so many of the acts that I like they all had at least one double album in the canon. So for me it was something that we always wanted to do, and it just became increasingly sort of perverse, I suppose, the way that the album itself is some may say is kind of dying a bit as people curate their own playlists. So I think it's a big sort of perverse kind of just putting a stake in the ground and going, we're old school.
Well, people get to curate their own playlist, but you get to curate your own set list. What out of this record is going into the tour in coming weeks?
We're still sort of working through that, just trying to work out which ones we can play best, and we'll also with a view to knowing that you can't kind of dump 8 or 9 new songs on people in a set. It's just I mean, people want to hear stuff they know. That's just, we all know that. But yeah, I think probably more the upbeat stuff is kind of lends itself, I guess, to being the most immediate material in a live format. So probably the first song on the record, Un-Australians, we've been rehearsing that. That Tell Someone that you mentioned before, that's been sounding really good in rehearsals. So we'll probably get 5 or 6 up and going, with a view to probably just putting 3 or 4 in a set at any one time.
Always look for the bad in people. There's another great song title.
Oh, cheers! Yeah. That's a song title that I had written that song as a completely different song about 10 years ago. Kept the title, and nothing else from the song, and just it turned into a completely new song, but with that title, and yeah, again, the classic of that song title, sort of directing the subsequent lyrics.
Mm. Let's get into the new technology, because I've been playing around with Microsoft and the new AI technology, and scarily enough, it knows who I am and it knows who you are. So I asked the AI me to interview the AI you. This is the introduction. This is how I should start a Fauves interview, according to Microsoft AI. The Fauves, an iconic name in the Australian music scene, have long been known for their unique sound and undeniable impact on alternate rock. In this exclusive interview, well, exclusive, obviously you didn't talk to Greg Phillips earlier on, but, this is an exclusive. Andrew, a key member of the band, shares his thoughts on the journey, the creative process, and what the future holds for the Fauves. So there's the intro. And then AI me then asks AI you, Andrew, can you tell us about how the Fauves came to be? I thought that's a pretty, bland opening for an interview, isn't it?
Yeah, Mr. AI, he's not going on any great limbs there, but I mean, look, his introduction seemed perfectly reasonable. I mean, yeah, that's I think the AI guy's done a fair job there, but yeah. So, but I mean, does he want me to? Does he want me to AI me to answer that question?
Well, AIU, AIU has answered it. AIU says, absolutely. The band started back in the late 80s when a group of friends and I decided to channel our love for music into something more tangible. We were inspired by the alternative rock scene and wanted to create music that resonated with our own experiences and the world around us. So does real Andrew agree with AI Andrew?
Yeah, I think AI Andrew is pretty spot. I got to get more in touch with my AI Andrew, because it really could be saving me a lot of time, particularly press releases, bios, those sorts of things. That's perfectly acceptable.
Okay, well let's test it out here, because the next AI me asks you about your biggest influences when you started out. I want you to answer it first, and then I'll compare the notes and see how many of what you say matches what it says.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, well, I would say certainly when we were starting bands that we were really into, so the indie guitar bands were around. REM were huge for us. The Smiths, Sonic Youth were a very big influence for us, but particularly with their alternate tunings. So yeah, bands like that. I suppose even bands like the Violent Femmes were an inspiration, just in their kind of the DIY lo-fi vibe that they gave off. And then going back a bit further, I suppose, in terms of just getting into music and even getting our head around the idea of being a songwriter, Bob Dylan and Neil Young were very important in my sort of teenage years, in terms of getting into music full stop. So off the top of my head, they'd be the kind of big ones I'd name. Not sure what AI's got to say about that.
Okay, so AI Andrew says bands like the Pixies, Pavement, and local legends like the Saints and the Go-Betweens had a significant impact on our sound.
Oh, look, for sure. Had all the Go-Betweens records when I was growing up, definitely. Pixies, really loved the Pixies and Pavement. So, Pixies and Pavement came along a little bit later. So probably when we were starting, we probably weren't listening to those bands, but certainly great bands. So yeah, again, I think AI Andrews, he's done a reasonable job there. Yeah, for sure.
I like how you refer to he. AI Andrew was actually sitting behind the screen typing back. Let's try this one. Your lyrics are often praised for their wit and depth. Can you share a bit about your songwriting process?
I can, yeah. Well, look, it's quite banal, really. I mean, it's really nothing more than sitting down with a guitar and fooling around. And if there's a riff or a chord sequence, I'll always record it onto my dictaphone. I might not come back to it for a while. And so I tend to end up, some songs just spew straight out. Others are patchworks from going back to listening to the stuff that I've recorded and going, oh, that might work with that, and piecing things together more. So, but yeah, it always just takes place here in this same room, this very bland little officey music room that I've got, and it's never a process of going, okay, I have to write a song today. It's just sit down, don't force it, play the guitar. Some days nothing sounds good. Other days, ooh, that might be something. So that's a broad outline of the process. Yeah.
Okay, so AI Andrew says songwriting for us is a collaborative effort. We usually start with a basic idea or riff, and then we build it up collectively. Our lyrics tend to come from personal experiences, social observations, and sometimes with a bit of humour. We believe in staying true to our voice and not shying away from addressing real issues, even if it's done in a light-hearted manner.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I can't really disagree with him. So, yeah, look. I'm just starting to wonder what I'm doing here, Paul.
I've got a funny feeling that real Andrew and AI Andrew will be going out for a beer later on this afternoon. All right. This is how it concludes. It goes into a few other questions, but we'll go to the conclusion. The Fauves continue to be a driving force in the alternative rock scene, their music resonating with both old and new fans alike. Andrew's insights reveal a band that is passionate, resilient, and ever-evolving. As they look to the future, one thing is clear: the Fauves will keep pushing the boundaries and creating music that speaks to the heart and soul.
Wow. Thank you, AI. I mean, he's unavailingly positive, which is something that doesn't really. That's probably where he and I differ. It doesn't come natural. That level of glowing positivity doesn't come naturally to me. Particularly talking about our own band, we tend to do the self-deprecating thing more. So we're going to hire this guy as a publicist at the very least, because
I'm thinking, AI Andrew could be your publicist.
Yeah. Yeah, really. You got to make sure before we hang up, Paul, to give me his number.
Certainly. All right. So, out touring with Custard, the new album Tropical Strength. So you have that album, Custard, and The Stress of Leisure will also be on that bill, starting in Sydney on November 9, going right through until almost Christmas, 21st of December, ending off in Brisbane, and then coming back home and putting up the Christmas tree.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's that'd be great to get all to some of the places we haven't been in a while. We haven't been to Perth for probably 5 or 6 years. Similarly with Tasmania. Excuse me. So yeah, fantastic opportunity to get out with, and again it's a great bill. Stress of Leisure are a fantastic band too. That I definitely encourage listeners, viewers to check out. So I think it's going to be a great tour. Really looking forward to it.
Now, the Perth date on December 6th says Perth Milk Bar. You have checked you're actually playing in a venue called Milk Bar and not an actual milk bar?
I did notice that, or maybe, perhaps ticket sales haven't been strong in Perth and a milk bar was kind of seen the appropriate size venue. So, look, we'll work with anything. We'll play anywhere.
Good to talk to you, Andrew, from the Fauves here at Noise 11.
Good on you. Thanks, Paul.